You got promoted because you were the one who answered every email. You attended every meeting and you solved every problem. But now you're the manager and you're trying to lead the same way. You're available to everyone all the time and you are running on fumes. Here's the truth no one told you. If you don't manage your energy, your team will shortly inherit your exhaustion. I've had the opportunity and privilege to lead hundreds at JP Morgan Chase across multiple cities and countries. I've held the president level role at Allstate and Legal Shield. I've spent more than 20 years in corporate leadership. And I can tell you, I learned the hard way. The leader who runs on empty does not lead. We react and we move faster and faster until something breaks. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand why taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's one of the most people first things that you can actually do. You're going to walk away with a playbook for refueling your tank so you can actually lead the people who are counting on you. We're going to walk through three things. One, why your exhaustion is your team's problem. It's not just yours. And by the way, there's no hiding it. Two, 4 habits to start, 2 to stop, starting tomorrow. And 3, how to protect the time and space you need to lead with intention instead of just reacting all day. So let's just jump right into this thing. Your exhaustion is contagious. Early in my career, the first thing I did every morning is check email. I told myself it was because I had partners across the globe, different time zones, but that wasn't it. It had just become a habit. It was quietly draining me. Then I had a moment where I moved to a new role. And for some reason, when you make a change sometimes, that change allows you to make other changes. I decided I wanted to change my fitness routine. I found a gym that opened at 5 a.m. And if I wanted to get on the treadmills or whatever first, I needed to be there 4:45 outside waiting to get in. I was done my workout about 6:15 and I got to my office in Wilmington, Delaware about 7 o'clock. And here's what I didn't plan for. I no longer had time to check email in the morning. And I noticed something. By the time I got to work at 7 a.m., I was more energized. I hadn't been focusing on what I opened in the email. I hadn't been planning responses in my head and doing those mental gymnastics. And you know what? I was sharper, I was more patient, and I was more present with my team. Years later, I moved to Chicago for a new gig, and the gym was in my building. And suddenly I had this morning flexibility. I didn't have to be to the gym at 4:45. There were no crowded treadmills. And you know what? I slipped back into checking email first thing in the morning. I noticed that difference pretty quickly. I was walking into the office with less energy, shorter fuse, more reactive, more mental gymnastics before I even got to my desk. Here's the lesson I want you to take away. Your team doesn't just inherit your decisions, they inherit your state of being. If you walk into the office or meeting depleted, distracted, or already irritated by something in your inbox, your team is going to feel it. More so, they're also going to mirror it. They're going to start managing around your mood instead of focusing on the work. When you're depleted, see, you don't lead, you react. You snap at people. You begin to skip the one-on-ones. You begin to defer the hard decisions. You begin to make the cautious decision instead of the right one. You become the manager that people tolerate and not the leader that people want to choose to follow. Here's your action step. Sit down today and answer one question with brutal honesty. And here's the question. What is draining me right now? Don't overanalyze this. Don't try to say what should be draining me. No, what is actually draining me? That is the question. Is it the inbox before you've had your coffee? Is it the back-to-back calendar? Is it the one person on your team you tend to avoid? Name it, write it down, because you cannot fix what you don't name. Now, second point, 4 things to start, 2 things to stop. You know, when I took a leadership role years ago in New York City, I was commuting in and out from Philadelphia every day, and it was draining me. At a critical point during the project, I made the decision, which at that time, interestingly enough, felt extravagant. I accepted a corporate apartment not too far from the office. I stopped commuting. Why? Because I finally accepted that I couldn't lead a team of 40 people in a big project on 5 hours of sleep every night. The apartment wasn't a perk, it was a tool. It was me acknowledging that my energy was one of the project's most important assets, and I needed to protect that asset. That was the start of a longer journey for me, figuring out which habits feed the tank and which ones drain it. I want to give you a short list I wish someone had given me. 4 things to start, again, 2 things to stop. Number 1, like I just said, get enough sleep. I know it sounds basic, but listen, you cannot out-hustle a sleep deficit. Sometimes the most leadership forward decision, believe it or not, is going to bed. Number 2, eat food that actually fuels you. There's this myth that we do sometimes in our head, hopefully it's not just me, is that like bad food that we know is not the best is a reward for our hard work. After we've had a hard day working on something, we want this certain food that we know is not good for us. Don't do that. Start eating things that you know that fuel you. Number 3, move your body daily. I don't care what it is. We're not talking about marathons or a 10K. We're talking about a 20-minute walk. I used to just walk around our building. We had a large building when I was working in Newark, Delaware. I just walked the building with someone. Take someone with you. An app doing your phone during the day. Maybe it's push-ups in your hotel room that, you open the app, you do the push-ups, it counts them for you, move on. Number 4 to do, make time for a hobby that you absolutely love. Get lost in it. You lose a sense of time. It could be reading a book. It could be playing a game. It could be cooking, painting, whatever it is, putting together Legos. You see some behind me. Whatever that is, do that thing. Now, here's the mindset shift. Stop saying, I shouldn't be doing this when I have so much to do. It's a leadership trap. Start saying, I'm refueling so I can come back fully engaged for what actually matters. Now, let me tell you the 2 things to stop. And stopping is usually harder than starting new things. So let's just say that up front. Stop. No email before you get your energy. So you're going to plan your morning in such a way that you make sure you do the things that fuel your tank up before you check any emails. I call it energy over emails. It's just that simple. Don't let the world in until you've gotten yourself set. That's number 1 to stop. Number 2, kill the back-to-back calendar. I had an assistant named Rose when I was at Allstate who blessed my life because what she did without asking me was put in 30-minute meeting gaps in between my meetings. I actually said, don't do that. She did it anyway. She made sure I had time after each meeting to have a minute to catch my breath, reconcile what happened in that meeting, plan for my next meeting, make a call if I needed to, take a small walk if I need to, but get a chance to catch my breath and recharge before the next meeting. I didn't lose a single ounce of productivity. You know what happened? I gained clarity. Leaders need time to think. If your calendar doesn't have any white space, you don't have a calendar, you have a treadmill. So your action today, pick one of those 4 things I told you to start and pick one of those 2 things I told you to stop this week. Pick one, do it for 7 days, and notice what shifts. Here's my 3rd and final point. Protect your tank. Again, I told you about Rose and how she protected my tank. And I have to say, not only did she add 30-minute meetings, she would look at my calendar and try to move things around based on what she thought were my priorities and my goals. And I couldn't be more thankful because she knew that as I worked on my priority and goals, the team would meet its priority goals. And guess what? My priority and goals were also things that gave me energy. Work on your calendar. Make it work for you. You need room to think. You need room to debrief. You need room to prep. You need room to recover. The version of me that was running back to back from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. was not a more productive me. It was a busier me. Over time, what Rose and I developed was actually a color coding system for my calendar. Green meant, again, those meetings were 100% aligned with my goals. Yellow meant things requested by others. Red meant there was no alignment whatsoever for my calendar. Again, I'm a visual person. I like seeing green. Green meant I was going to be in the best state to lead. Red meant I was just busy and I wasn't aligned. So here's the lesson I want you to take away. Don't feel guilty about putting on your mask first. What do I mean by that? It's almost like what we see when we go on the airplane. What do they tell us? In case of emergency, masks are going to drop. Put your mask on first. Do the one-on-one. Do one thing that gives you energy. Stop one thing that is draining your energy. Be a great steward. Be the leader that people need, starting right now.